Welcome to the Healers Café, the #1 show for medical practitioners and holistic healers to have heart-to-heart conversations about their day-to-day lives while sharing their expertise for improving your health and wellness. So welcome to the Healers Café. And today I have with me Viola Murrone. And we're going to be talking about health and life coaching, which is what she does, and particularly about crystal Reiki healing. So I wanted to welcome you to this podcast. And why don't we start with my usual question? How did you get involved in this? What started all this for you?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. And it's always an honor to have people giving their time to know a little bit more about me and the subjects I deal with. And to answer your question, I'm going to try to make the long story short because it's a very long story.
Okay.
It always. I started, let's say, as a child. I've been raised, with knowing about teas and spices and things like this. And when I was 9 years old, my mom already brought me to a Reiki healer because I've been feeling really sick and I got cured. Fast forward to when I was 26 years old. Life kicks in. I'm Italian. I moved to London. I became an adult. So I was working and, stressing out and everything. And I started having a really intense chronic fatigue and chronic gastritis. At least is what they told me. It was chronic. It took me 9 years to heal it. I was living in London. I went to doctors there. I went to doctors in Italy. Then I moved to Brazil. I went to doctors there. And suddenly a friend of mine said to me, why don't you go to my Reiki healer? And I was like, oh, why didn't I think of it? My mom, she brought me when I was 9. Okay, I'm going.
Well, yeah.
And the lady said to me, I'm not meant to heal you. You're meant to heal yourself. I'm going to do a course at some point and I'll let you know you come to do the course. So I started this course, and in 3 months, my incurable chronic gastritis was gone.
Wow.
To me, was incredible because 9 years that I went to the hospital several times just because of the pain. I couldn't bear them. It was just like a new life, like having my life back again.
Wow.
I couldn't remember, like if someone would ask me how you're feeling, and in my head was like, bad. I'm feeling very bad. I don't have another answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working for Chanel at the time. And I had a beautiful job and I loved it. It's an amazing brand. I had a nice environment that I was working, I was happy with. And I had this feeling though that I wanted to leave everything to do what I'm actually doing now. In Brazil, they say one thing that I've learned there. They say that you learn through love or through pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, within 9 months, I've had a miscarriage. I lost my grandfather. I lost my father very suddenly. And they offered a job in New York to my husband.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? This is a painful and very big wake-up call to do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Within these few months, crystals start coming up really intensely. I've done a crystal healing course, a crystal Reiki course. Like the crystals and Reiki, I think they saved me. They kept me alive.
Mm-hmm.
They kept me sane. I already had a child, and then I got pregnant with my second child when I was moving to New York. And I thought, I want a better mom for them and a better world for them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So when we moved to New York, I said to my husband, I'm not going back to corporate. I'm gonna try to make
Mm-hmm.
it work, what I really want to do. So I did a health and life coaching course.
Mhm.
because I wanted a certification here. At the end of the day, I'm a Virgo. I like earthy things.
Right.
I like to prove things, I
Very
like,
good. Right, okay.
we've got information, we've got notion and everything, which sometimes is hard to give when, you work with crystals and Reiki, but not as hard as people think. So I started working and I didn't want to work with Reiki. I was scared of working with Reiki.
Mhm.
So I was advertising my coaching and people were coming for the Reiki. And I was like, wait, that's like some miscommunication in between.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's a bit like shortening up the
Mhm.
story.
So I mean, I would imagine most listeners here know what Reiki is. But could you give your version of what it is and what it does and how it works and
Yes.
who it
Okay.
helps?
Easy, like the easiest thing is an alternative way of using energy to heal the body through an universal energy. It has been created around 100 years ago, not that long,
Mhm.
in Japan. And it has a beautiful story. Whoever is interested, they can DM me or, check it online. It's a really nice story. To me, what Reiki is a way to connect your soul to the universal energy and heal your body through it.
Mhm.
And the thing I've seen happening to me and to many of my clients are so beautiful always. There's no, when you take the medicines, they're like, there's the, how do you call them in English? Something bad can happen to you. You take a
Side
painkiller, but
effects.
you can have side effects. You can have
Yeah.
stomach ache. There's no side effects.
Right.
That's the beautiful. Sometimes you can feel like, for example, I've had one of my clients that she came and she regularly suffered of sinus infection.
Mhm.
The first time we've done Reiki, right after she's had like probably the worst sinus infection of her life.
Mhm.
But I remember her telling me it didn't feel like a regular sinus infection. It almost felt like a cleaning.
Right.
It
It
was
sounds
very,
like detox. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, in all true healing modalities, when the body, it's an opportunity to cleanse and detox, right? If it's been stimulated correctly, whereas drugs, you can predict the side effects, right? Plus, they create things you don't have.
yes, that's the thing. Like, a side effect in the meaning that you don't create problems that you don't have. You just
Exactly.
purge
Yeah.
whatever you have the way your body does it, because we all purge in a different way. Maybe someone has more like irritable bowels, someone sinus infection, lower back pain. We have a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the crystals, they really bring Reiki to the next level.
So how so? Like,
Crystals, they work, basically crystal, they have a vibration.
mhm.
So it's all energy. Einstein said it himself. So when people say that it's very woo-woo, it's not very woo-woo. Einstein talked about energy himself. But so each crystal has a different vibration, a different frequency.
Mhm.
According to the frequency you're trying to achieve, or according to the frequency of specific chakras that you have in your body, you're going to use some crystals. There are crystals that are more generic, like, for example, if we think of an amethyst, most people know what an amethyst is that purpley
Mhm.
crystal that we see most of the time. An amethyst is very, let's say, versatile, although it really vibrates with higher frequency of the third eye and the higher chakra, so it's way more spiritual.
Mhm.
While if you work with a black tourmaline,
Mhm.
which is a beautiful crystal, whoever's not watching, Google it or find it in a crystal store because it's gorgeous. It has these lines and the energy really goes through these lines as well. It's more earthy, it's more grounding. So it's an energy that keeps you in the here and now.
Mhm.
Together with the energy of the Reiki, they really brings your body to a healthy vibration, your healthy vibration. And it's it's incredible. It's amazing.
Mm. So, and that's, what did you call that one? The black one?
This is a black tourmaline.
Tourmaline. Okay.
Tourmaline, it can be in many colors. The
Okay.
black one really grounds you. The black one is really good, for example, to help people with autoimmune diseases. So
Okay.
it really helps because it works on the grounding, but it also works on letting go of what no longer serves you. Oftentimes when you have autoimmune diseases is because you have older pains, older, I've seen that you have an episode with someone talking about old traumas that they cause.
Right.
An amazing episode, by the way. So it does. Your older pains, they bring pain to your body now, even if they happened long ago. And this is a crystal that can really help release and let go of things that you learn. That's it. Let's try to move on, because keep on suffering for the sake of suffering, it's too heavy for any human being.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would incorporate, so you would put some crystals in the space or the.
It depends. I do it in person, and because I started during COVID, I mostly do from distance. I'm going to tell you about the distance later on. Let me tell you about the in-person first. So if you were in person, you would lay down and I would position the crystals on your body according to the chakras. So for example, on the top of your head, if you're laying down, I'm gonna, put it on the bed, close to your bed. I would put something like a rainbow moonstone, or maybe a crystal quartz or a howlite, something that connects with that one. And then, on the third eye, we talked about amethyst. I could do that. There's gazillion of crystals you can pick. For any chakra, you'll get 1, 2, 3 or more crystals per chakra.
Okay.
So I have people sometimes that they're like, oh my God, that crystal was really hot. Oh, that crystal was really heavy. So when a particular side of your body really felt it and was really needing it and was soaking the energy. And fun enough, oftentimes when I finish the Reiki, maybe I'll be like, oh, I was really feeling my hands shaking, I don't know, next to your root chakra. And then they like, oh, the crystal that was next to my root chakra felt really hot, felt, really energetic or whatever. So it is
Interesting. Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I've never had a session with gems or stones. I've had Reiki, but not the combination, But I've walked into shops and it's overwhelming, the energy field that's there, so I definitely, feel it. But it's interesting. I mean, obviously it makes sense to use it therapeutically. So can you run through what gems are for what, or just, I don't know if that's what you would do, or.
It really depends. There are what I would always say is to talk to someone. There are some gems that are general. Like, for example, I always say to people, like, to keep a selenite. I love selenite. Selenite, it brings light. Like the amethyst is a high vibrational crystal, so they don't need maintenance. What does this mean? Crystals in general, because they go through vibration. Imagine that you're sitting on a metal bench and you're tapping a little bit with your hand on the bench and the bench starts vibrating. Now someone else sits and it's a heavier person, so the vibration gonna lower. So you need to start tapping a little bit harder. This is what happened with the crystals. The vibration keeps on going, but then when you use them, sometimes the heaviness of the emotion or the lack of working of a chakra can really soak them down. So you want to, people say clean them. I really don't think you need to clean a crystal like it gets dirty. I like to say fine tune them. So when you fine tune them, you would put them on selenite or you would put them on an amethyst, because they don't need this. They are high vibrational crystals.
Mm.
Having said that, I always say that even strong women, they want to be pampered every now and then.
Mhm.
So when there's a full moon, I put out all my crystals, even my high vibrational ones. I think they deserve it.
Yeah, I've heard of many of my friends do that.
Do you do moon water?
I don't know, not because of any reason, just because I haven't.
I love doing the moon water. I put the water outside when there's a full moon, and depending on the full moon, then I would pick some crystals and I would put them around
The bowl, or like
around the bowl or the jug, whatever you've been using, and then I just leave it there the whole night. The kids love it.
Well, I know I was given this by one of the guests that I interviewed, and it's all like beautiful stones, and inside the white one, I don't know what it's called,
I think it's a
but
rainbow moonstone or an opal. I have no glasses, and from the video it's
yeah, it's
hard.
hard to see from yeah, it's hard to,
I would say a rainbow
I can
moonstone.
take it off. Oops.
Doesn't it look like this?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I would. Oh, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a
yeah,
rainbow moonstone. Yeah.
yeah. And it just like it lights up the entire room.
Yes, absolutely. Because it mimics somehow a little bit the
Yeah,
energy
yeah,
of the moon.
yeah. I have to find his name just to tell him how great it is. So,
I'm sure. No, those crystals, they're really, really helpful.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Even
feel very good with it.
even when you don't know,
Mhm.
that's something to be careful with when we buy crystal jewelry.
What would your life be like if you were pain-free? If you were one of the millions who suffer from chronic pain, the thought of just one day without it may seem impossible. This is often because conventional medicine tends to fall short in the treatment of pain, opting to prescribe pills or recommend surgery rather than getting to the root cause of the problem. But if you are suffering with emotional or physical pain, there is hope. Join the founder and CEO of Bowen College, Manon Bolliger, live online for your body-mind reboot. Learn how to listen to your symptoms and get to the root cause of your pain. Plus, be trained in basic Bowen therapy moves so that you can reboot your body for optimal health. You don't have to live in pain. You can heal. Stop the pain pill cycle by visiting www.yourbodymindreboot.com to learn more and to register.
Which is something that drives me absolutely insane when I see people wearing on their neck like dark crystals, like a black or a dark gray or a red crystal. They're not ideal on higher chakras.
Yeah, I see. Interesting.
They're not very good for you on higher chakras unless you're doing shadow work. But in that case, you don't want to do it on your own. You're going to have a healer or a friend that is a healer, someone that is following you and is helping you, and you're not going to do that on your own. I'm a healer. I do this, but when I do it for me, I do it with someone else as well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that's really important. I go crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I want to talk to this jeweler. Don't do this.
Well, I mean, okay, but so explain that, because I mean, there might be jewelers listening,
Oh, hopefully, listen to me. Send me a message.
So you were saying with crystals,
With crystal, when you make jewelry or when you buy jewelry, it's really important to be intentional. Dark crystals like black, like dark gray, like red, orange as well. They're very, very beneficial for lower chakras. You want to use them. You can use them on a bracelet or on an anklet.
What about like amber, which is a protective one?
Amber is different. First
Okay.
of all, amber, if you want to be honest, is not really a crystal, it's a fossilized resin.
Right, true, yeah.
And it has different hues. So it's not like a dark orange. It's a brownish, it's a brownish yellow. And it's really good. Both my kids, they wear the little necklace since they're babies. Like one is 4 and the other one is turning 8 soon. And I always leave it on their necks still nowadays. But it's for protection. It's really good. They talk about teething, but really amber, thank you for bringing it up, because I love amber and I love talking about it. It's really good for bones, for pain in your bones in general. So that's why they talk about the teething. But kids, they have growing pains as well in their bones. So it's really important. And even people that have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, problem with joints and bones, a nice necklace or a bracelet with amber is really good. And it's great for immune system as well.
Right.
So that, yes. Now, for the other ones, like particularly the black and dark gray and red, the black and dark gray, they help you with the shadow work. So you don't want to have them on your chest and on your neck. The red ones, sometimes they can make you more aggressive. And so, like, for example, one of the first thing when my crystal healer master told me when we spoke about crystals, it was like, never the red on the heart.
Interesting, yeah.
So to leave it far, ideally, from the heart.
Interesting, yeah. It's not like logical in some way, but it makes some sense. It's funny because when I was traveling in Europe, was it 2 years ago? I can't remember anymore. Time has gone into a vacuum for me. But I have a ring that is ruby. And I've been wanting to find a necklace like that. But it's funny, every time I've tried one, or I've not been, it's just not felt right. So I didn't buy one, and I wanted to, because sometimes when you travel and you go to certain places, you can get much better prices than the markup.
I think probably because you're very sensitive, when you put it on your chest or on your neck, you realize that there wasn't the kind of energy you wanted there. Now, on your hand, it's fine, because your hand normally is lower in the body.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's okay. There's no problem. Even sometimes I say to people, a tumble stone, you can put it in your pocket, not in the bra.
Right. Yeah.
Other colors, if you have, a blue one, a pink one, a green one, yes, that's on the bra is fine. I stopped putting crystals in my bra because I forget about them. And when I put my pajama on, it's like
yeah.
But it's and what I wanted to tell you also, because I just mentioned it and maybe people stay with the curiosity, is the distance. Because many people, they're like, how do you do distant Reiki? You send the energy, far. And when I spoke with a friend of mine that was asking me about this, we were in Italy, and his mom does Reiki. So he's really used to Reiki, but not distant Reiki. We were talking about it, and he was like, oh my God, it sounds like on the telephone. We're on the phone with someone. You really have to pay attention, because you have to wait for someone to finish talking before you start talking. You pay more attention, both, on both sides. And it's like, it feels that because oftentimes I told him, I feel like it works even better from distance. And it was like, maybe because people pay more attention. I started, so when I've done my first course, actually second level course of Reiki, you learn how to do distant Reiki. I told you already, I'm a Virgo, and I really identify myself with that sign. So I'm more like, it's distance, I can't touch it, I can't prove it, it feels funny. I never did it. When I moved from Brazil to New York, some of the girls I used to do Reiki on in Brazil, they were like, oh, we still want it. And I was like, you know what? Let's try it out. They were friends. I wasn't charging them anyway. So I was like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We've tried. It's not going to hurt you anyway.
Right.
So I've had a notepad, which I have lost in my last move anyway. I had this notepad and I was writing down the name of the person, the day, why they were doing the Reiki, the crystals I was using, and everything specifically. And I have to say that because at the end I would tell them what I was feeling, what I, if I saw any colors or anything specific, and they would tell me about their experience. And I've turned a believer, like they say.
Mhm.
So it's
I think
amazing.
I went through something similar because I teach and I have a college called Bowen College, and it's a physical therapy, right? So, you actually touch people. And then same thing, I moved, and I mean I did two things. I created videos so people could actually learn to do it for themselves, the basic work that reboots. But I also did it long distance. And I had the same thing. I said, okay, I'll wait till I have somebody come into the clinic, and I'll do it at the same time. And some moves will be, of course, different, and those I'll visualize, and I'll spend the time that it feels that way. Um, and with no expectations, thinking it wouldn't work. But again, to my surprise, it did, and once there was nobody to help me, and I really needed to have a Bowen therapy session. So one of my colleagues was in California, and I just said, can we do this? And he goes, oh yeah, just lay down, and and it was like incredible. I could feel my whole body going through the process. And so I also switched very much my understanding of how energy works, and it's like, we have these telephones. Like, how does that work? It's like, I don't know, I can't explain that either.
Yes,
So,
I often say similar to what you said, but I say the opposite. It was like, I can understand how energy works from far. I cannot understand how the computer is happening. This what they were doing now. This is real magic for me.
That's probably a good angle. Yeah. Good. So tell me, we have like, oh my gosh, we're actually out of time. So why don't we just conclude with maybe one like last statement or something you want to share with people and how they can get hold of you?
Okay, you can get hold of me on Instagram on at feelandheal.me. And I'm going to give you like my idea. First of all, my idea is to light up the world one woman at a time, because I think women, once we can take off some of the weight that we have and we can use our light, we can light up the whole neighborhood. And my business is called Feel and Heal, because women, we don't have the time to stop and feel. And if we don't have the time to stop and feel, we don't have the time to heal. And sometimes crystals that can be very useful, or coaching, or a moment that you can stop. So
Right.
if you can reach out to me or any other healer and go every now and then and have your feel and heal moment, go for it. If you cannot, pick a crystal that can help you do that. And if I can, actually, I would suggest two. I would suggest one, high energy crystals. So it could be a clear quartz, because usually it's the easiest. No, it's the most versatile. It's not easy, but it's very versatile. So one of that, and an hematite. So hematite is very grounding. Sometimes when we stop, when we meditate, we relax, we fly away, right? So if we are in a body, it's because our mission is here in the here and now. So once we've had our moment of relaxation, of feeling and slowly healing, then we have to come back to our body. So you would hold both hands, the clear quartz, and you can meditate and relax and breathe, whatever is the methodology that you like the most. And once you're done, you put the crystal down, and you use your non-dominant hand to hold the hematite, and your dominant hand to touch the floor. This is going to help you ground and bring this healing to your body as well, not only on your soul.
So the non-dominant hand becomes the grounding hand.
The non-dominant hand is the one you receive.
Ah, okay.
Or you put the hematite in the non-dominant hand because you're going to receive the benefits of grounding.
Of grounding, okay.
Or dominant hand is the one where you give, so
Right.
you touch the ground,
Mhm.
and it's going to be like, you know, like those poles that receive the lightning. That's going to be your lightning pole.
Okay.
And
All
getting,
right.
you know, the overcharge of energy out your body.
Okay. Interesting. I'll have to try that. Okay. Well, I was going to say voila, but it's actually viola, but voila is in French for there it is. Okay, so thank you very much. And then oh yeah, and you have a website, right? You said?
I have a website as well. It's www.feelandheal.me.
Okay,
If
perfect.
my email is like viola@feelandheal.me. I want people to remember that they can heal through feeling.
Exactly. Okay, well, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at the Healers Café. If you haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on, as I post a new podcast every Wednesday with tons of useful information and tips for natural healing that you won't want to miss.